episode 25, Josh.
25, quarter of a century.
25 episodes. We are a quarter of the way to 100 episodes. Which, do you think it's weird that we won't hit 100 for like another 2 years? Or like another year and a half?
Jesus. Hello. And welcome to Golden Collar.
Why do I feel like the X-Files music's going to start or something? We discuss all things animation, video games, and digital drawing.
I am your smouldering, bearded host, otherwise known as Sasquatch. Josh?
Smouldering! And I am your just God's-given, like, statuesque building of a man.
Modest
Tyler.
as well. Yeah, very modest.
Okay, humble human. And I'm
Yeah.
Tyler. So that's me. Yeah. How have you been, buddy?
I've been very good. How are you? I've not been.
I've been very good. How are you? And just going straight back to yourself.
Yeah,
You
going back-
don't just. We never
Yeah.
do that. I'm good.
No.
How are you? No. You. How have you been? What have you been up to? Tell me.
I am.
How's the kids? I don't need to know that much.
How's the kids? Well, the kid is fine. If it's kids, I'm worried. Yeah. No, I'm just. Apologies. I am actually running on fumes, so I'm quite tired because of baby. So it is fun, but yeah, I've been very well. I've been doing a lot of drawing. We've set ourselves a challenge. Well, actually, no, I posed a challenge to Tyler and said, try and draw an actual like thing that you could print off as a canvas.
Oh yes. Sorry, I was like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in doing so, Procreate has a limitation, so it only gives you like 14
Right.
layers.
So I was meant to
work with.
ask you about that actually, because I did the same dimensions.
Yeah.
But it only gave me 5 layers.
Right. So, not to call you Paul,
Oh.
but your iPad is older than mine.
But I bought it last year.
Did you?
I got it in September.
Did you?
So I've not even had it a year.
Really?
So, not to you, huh? Shut
Well,
up.
I actually think my iPad's older than yours, but I think I've got like an M1 chip in mine, or whatever it is. And yeah. So you've only got
Get in
5
the
layers
bin.
to work with.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need that many layers.
Oh, I mean, I do. Jesus, I've been trying to
but I've learned to restrict myself to 2 or 3 layers now, depending on what I'm drawing.
Well, I've got 14 layers to play with. Tyler's got 5. So, hopefully...
Hey, who's a more refined artist? That's what I'm saying.
We'll see. But he's got to basically print it off and put it on a canvas, and it gives you like a 50 centimetre by 40 centimetre canvas. So print it off.
Yeah, I
and put it on a wall.
wanted me to actually print it as well.
Yeah, so it has to actually be decent, so you might have to step up.
So let's not spoil what we're drawing yet,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be very obvious which one's which, given that you know what my idea is. You've forgotten.
Oh no, I know what yours is. I'm trying to think how you're going to do yours with 5 layers, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it'd be good. I'm halfway through mine, but I'm struggling.
What I'll probably do is draw one, merge it, start a new layer. Draw one, merge it, start a new layer.
But then you get into the issue of having the same size. If you like resize stuff, it sort of accommodates for the. It's a weird thing that it does. But it's trying to
Procreate nerdiness there.
Yeah, stop getting your pictures pixelated and stuff. It's just annoying. But I'm struggling with painting at the moment because I've done one side as a painting, and I'm doing the other side as like a digital paint, like you would do like a.
I thought you were going to watercolor it.
I was, but I may still. I've been faffing around with it, but I may still do the other side in watercolor.
Maybe you should draw the stencil of it and then actually print it and then actually watercolor it.
What, like print it on a canvas and just like get some watercolor paints and do it that way?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. That scares me.
I reckon you could. I've been thinking about it with terms of drawing. In fact, no, do you know what? I'll let you finish and then I'll go.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
What else have you been doing though?
Tears of the Kingdom. Spoiler.
Good. Spoiler.
And no, I've just been doing a lot of drawing. Either drawing Tears of the Kingdom or I watched the new Mission Impossible, which was very good.
Nice.
What about yourself?
Well, I'm not too shabby, as you are. Yeah, shabby is just fine and dandy. What have I been doing? Well, obviously we discussed last week me reaching a bit of a stalemate when it comes to my drawing. Josh did give me some wonderful advice.
Ignited a fire.
Credit where it's due. And I have knocked out about 5 or 6 drawings in the last week. It did. I'm really enjoying it. It's so I don't know if you saw, I drew a combo of Stitch as Thor, and I drew Princess Peach as Scarlet Witch, and then I drew Kanye West as Wednesday Addams, and then I drew Mandalorian as Buzz Lightyear, and then most recently I've done the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus as the Powerpuff Girls, which I love. I think that was cool.
I'd like to interject. I forgot to mention, I also did one. In the 5 that Tyler's...
Which one did you do?
I did Daphne as Aang.
Oh, yeah, of course you did. Yeah, Dangfney, yeah.
Dangfi. That's what Dangfi is the name. And you know what? It turned out quite well. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the art style. I struggled with the face, as we're well aware.
Oh, yeah. Kept telling Josh to redraw the face. And then he kept sending me the new versions. I was like... And me and my friend Jack were looking at it going... I can't work out what he's changed. And I was like, Josh, changed it. And then you did. And I went, that is so much better. It kind of looks more feminine now.
Pull the chin up and make it a bit more rounded.
Yeah. It's hard. I actually find it difficult to draw like women because their facial structures are very different to a man's. And I'm just used to defaultly drawing male characters, I guess. So that's been an interesting learning curve, especially when I drew the Scarlet Witch Peach one. Although that one came together quite well. I've gotten really good at drawing people. Quite comfortable with drawing people now. It's just my biggest challenge is trying to make it look like the person I'm trying to draw.
You kind of found your groove though. Like I remember when I was like, "Oh, have you been drawing?" Like, because we've actually got things we need to be drawing, but we won't talk about that. So when he has been knocking out these other drawings, he has literally been knocking them out. Like, oh, I've got this thing, I'm going to show you. And then like 2 hours later, it's Scarlet Witch and Princess Peach. And I'm like, Jesus, what have you been doing? I'm like, nothing but drawing. Like,
I just, but you know what I'm like? When I fixate on a drawing, I hyper-fixate on that drawing, right? I just get into it. Like it's like there is a rhythm to drawing, right? And when you find a drawing that you like, you get a good rhythm with it, and then suddenly, before you know it, you've done it. It's like I was saying, I drew the Buzz Mandalorian one whilst I was having a conversation with my friends that were in the room with me, and my mate went, "How have you done that so quick?" I was like, "Because I'm not thinking about it, and I'm in a good rhythm. Like the rhythm of this conversation is helping me draw. I reckon we'd have a great podcast recording if I was just drawing." Because I'd probably knock out a great drawing and also, a great podcast. Not to say that, Code and Colour isn't great. It's, should be top 10 podcasts on Spotify. But,
top 5.
That's top 5, top 3, 1. Just number 1. It should just be number 1. But, beggars can't be choosers. So, here we are. But what else have I been doing? Not really played much this week, to be fair. Mostly been drawing. Obviously, I've been with my friends, so it's been kind of hard to do that. Actually, I did play at Tears of the Kingdom for about an hour or 2 the other day. But I've played loads of it. So, and then I've just been rewatching all of Sex Education because I thought the new season was coming out next week. Turns out it's not till September, so that's good.
No way.
Yeah, I was like, yes, I've caught up just in time. And no, I've still got till the 21st September. So cheers, Netflix, you horrible, 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 horrible thing. Have I been doing anything else? No. I think that's your lot, to be honest. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's time I called you down with an icebreaker.
Oh, we haven't had one for a while.
No.
Should we get into it then?
Let's get into it.
Sweet.
So, today's icebreaker is...
I'm cold already.
Ice cold epicness. It is a travel through time. And there's only 4, right. so it's not it's not a lot of brain power, but I'm going to give you one. So essentially, the icebreaker is guess the studio that made this game.
Oh, horrendous!
By their first game.
Oh, horrendous! I'm never gonna know. Okay,
so,
here we go.
Now, what I've done is I picked their first game and their most recent game.
Okay, so we're bookending it. Cool.
Yeah. So I won't obviously tell you the most recent game because that will clearly give it away.
That's a bit harsh.
So I'm going to tell you the first game. You've got to tell me what studio it is.
Right. Okay.
So the first one is Shell Shock Nam 67. I'm not going to give you the dates of these, but some of these are in like the 80s.
Shell Shock Nam 67.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. Are these all well-known studios?
Yeah.
You really had to think about that, and I'm upset. Are you going to give me the answers now?
No,
I
have to look through the list. No, you just give me your answer. I'll type it down, and then I'll go through. There's only 4.
All right, I'm trying to think of a studio. I'm going to say... I can't think of a studio. Shell Shock Nam... What was it?
Shell Shock Nam 67.
I'm gonna say...
Yeah.
Bethesda.
I
think I'm way off there. I haven't got a clue.
You don't know yet. Next one.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this, but it's spelled GNOP.
GNOP. Nop.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog.
Naughty
Pretty
Dog?
sure their first game is Crash Bandicoot, but there we go.
Okay, let me just...
I'm just guessing studios now. Love that you're having to type this down. It's hilarious.
ZZT.
I haven't got a foggiest idea. I can't even think of a studio now. Because I know it's not either Sucker Punch or Insomniac, so... it's definitely not. Because we know what Sucker Punch's first game is. We did an episode on it. Donut. I'm going to say CD Projekt Red. I don't know. I reckon I've got these all wrong. Right.
And Zombie. Spelled ZOMBI.
Zombie. Oh, I recognise that. I do recognise that.
Let me tell you right now, it's not the one from the Wii U.
No, that's Zombie U.
Yeah.
And obviously, no, that's not Nintendo's first game.
Yeah.
Obviously. Zombie. I can't think of a studio. Blizzard. No, I'm going to say Activision, even though that is Blizzard, but
Activision, yeah. Okay.
Right, go on and hit me. Are you going to give me their most recent games as well?
Yeah.
This is going to piss me right off. Go on then.
Right, so this studio's most recent game.
What, the first one?
Yeah.
Which one was this one again?
Shell Shock Nam 67.
Okay.
Their most recent game is Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh god. What are they called? I can't remember.
Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, I said Guerrilla.
Next one. Their most recent game that it's yet to come out, but it has.
What
just
was the first one called?
Nop.
That's it. Yeah.
Is Marathon.
Oh god, Bungie.
Yeah. Now, in your defence for this one, I knew you were never going to answer this one anyway. But in defence of this one, I put something down that would correlate more with you, because it's vast what they've done. So their games.
So what was the first one again?
ZZT. Right. ZZT. Fortnite.
Is it Epic Games?
Epic Games.
Oh.
I could have gone to they've got hands in everything.
That they make games and they're not just a streaming platform. Oh.
Yeah. You said CD Projekt Red for that. Well done.
It was well off. Couldn't be further.
And then Zombie.
Yeah.
Their latest game, which is yet to come out, which was announced recently, and we actually live streamed it, but it didn't work out. Was Star Wars Outlaws.
So Ubisoft. Do you know what? I was thinking about Ubisoft. That was good. What did I say again?
Activision.
I said Activision.
And that Blizzard.
Do you know what? I was torn between either Blizzard, Activision, or Ubisoft. That's so annoying.
Yeah, I cooked that up just before we got here. I was just trying to find it. It was so hard to I don't think there's a webpage that goes a studio's first game and last game. So I had to use old reliable Wikipedia, which would I assume would be right. But
it's moderate. It's like moderated now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can't just enter whatever you like on Wikipedia anymore.
That was funny. Like going through that, I was like, oh god, there's some horrible ones in there.
Oh so, wow. Yeah. I thought Ubisoft, but I didn't think you. I thought you'd go for some niche studios. To be fair,
no, I went for the big ones. I went for the ones that like the big dogs, Horizon, Guerrilla Games, like Killzone.
Well, I also said some big ones there that you didn't include. So
I did have a lot of time. I'd do 4, and I was like, you know what? If you want more, if you want to go down the gauntlet, run the gauntlet again.
That's quite a good idea. Yeah, we can do that again. Yeah. Very nice, Josh. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, shall we get into what we are going to be talking about today?
I think so.
So, we are going to be talking about a game that Josh has been playing recently, and I've played a lot of it anyway, and that is the wonderful Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Joshua, shall we get into it?
Oh, let's do it.
It'd be an honour. I
want to say that's like a Zelda song.
It's literally the Zelda thing.
Is it? You see, I'm not a huge fan of Zelda. I've only played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So
anyway, goodbye everyone. Cheers. How are we going to do an episode on Zelda and not the theme is? Ah!
Well, this is the thing. This is the discussion to be had.
This is why you want to talk about it. Right, so Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda. It came out, 2 months ago? 2 and a bit months ago? As a direct sequel to the very much beloved Breath of the Wild that came out on launch for the Switch, which was back in 2017, March the 3rd, specifically, if you want to be that guy. So direct sequel. I think a lot of people were skeptical about it, but also very much anticipating its arrival, and rightly so. It's come out and wow, it's basically taken Breath of the Wild and going, I'm the daddy now. Yeah. Look at me, I am the captain now. Yeah, that's basically what Tears of the Kingdom has done to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth, just wishing it had an ounce of what Tears of the Kingdom has.
It's done it for all games basically, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, today, and that is what we're going to talk about. And the angle we're going to be going off today, Josh, would you carefully do the honours of what we're calling this episode?
Is Tears of the Kingdom the best game ever made?
Ooh, Josh, that is a good question, and we'd love to know what you guys think as well. Obviously, we're about to share all our thoughts. Forewarning, if you haven't played this game, and you plan to, I'm not saying we'll directly spoil any story, but in terms of mechanics and gameplay, we are going to break that down. So.
I'm not far enough to spoil any story.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
So we won't do that. But yeah, so Tears of the Kingdom. So we have spoken about this on an episode before. Specifically when I got the game, because I got it on release, you got it later, like an absolute weirdo.
Sorry, I had a child. I don't know if you know this. I got it for Father's Day. And
I think everyone and their dog knows that you've got a child, Josh.
My son bought me it with his own money.
Yeah.
Can't even sit up on his own. And he bought me a game.
Yeah, well, he's a good lad, isn't he? He knows his stuff. We like Red. We rate Red.
Looks everyone great. It's cute. Carry on.
This is okay. So Tears of the Kingdom. I've been playing it for a while. I can love it more than I loved Breath of the Wild. A lot more. Initially, when it came out, one of the things that you said to me was, does it not just feel like a glorified DLC for Breath of the Wild? And I could see where the angle is, but the more I've played it, the more I realise, no, this is a whole new game.
This is a double-edged sword, though, because I'm with you. And to sort of like put some perspective with our listeners and in myself, like Tyler is a Zelda purist. Played them all probably, have you?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. I've only played Breath of the Wild and I've only played Tears of the Kingdom. So
you really should play the remake of Link's Awakening. Really
I'm just not that invested in them. The draw to these games for me is do what you want. And that's what I like. I don't like. I'm not a huge Link fan. I'm not a huge Zelda fan. I'm just not in that universe. It bypassed me. Like, it was my time, but it just definitely bypassed me. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't my jam.
God. I always loved Link. When I was a kid, I used to pretend I was Link all the time. If it wasn't Tomb Raider, I was pretending to be it was Link. Loved him. Just think he's a cool character.
We'll unpack that other thing at a later date.
What, the Tomb Raider one? Yeah. We've talked about this on an old episode.
Have we?
Oh, God. Yes.
I'll have to revisit that. Revisit that, people, and tell me which episode it was.
We literally talked about it on the episode where we were discussing what defines a PlayStation generation. On that episode.
And you rolled up with... All right. We'll yeah, okay.
Just go watch it again. Well done, Josh. You're a great host.
Moving on.
Yeah, so you weren't a fan of Zelda?
No. It just wasn't my thing. And then I heard about Breath of the Wild and I heard about, what you can do and just sort of like you do your own thing and, and for me it's a hard game and I don't know all the enemy types and I don't really care that much. But I just sort of like enjoy it for, you can just waste hours in the game just doing your own thing. And I think for me, the angle that I'm coming at with this is that because I've not played it, why do I think it's the best game ever made? And
well, why do you?
I think it just ticks every box that you would compare it to another game. And I think later on, we're going to discuss this later on, the other side to that we can discuss is if you took this game and you put it against any game that's come out ever, it'd win it because of, graphics or gameplay or animation, story, it ticks all them boxes. But do I consider it my best game ever made? No, and the reason for that is nostalgia. But if you look at the cold hard facts, it is a better game than the games that we love as a child.
Yeah. So in terms of, the mechanics and the gameplay, I guess let's start there. So
break it down.
Breath of the Wild obviously came out 2017.
Yeah. I was going to say, should we start with that style?
No. I'll start with this now because I'm talking about it now. So, it came out in 2017 and it was a completely open world, kind of choose your own, not necessarily choose your own path, but essentially you could go in any direction you wanted. It didn't matter. The outcome was always the same, right? Didn't matter how you did the story. You could complete that game in 30 seconds. You could complete it in 90 days. It's entirely up to you how you played this game. You didn't even need to do all 4 challenges to go and fight Ganon. Like, Ganon was there. I wouldn't recommend it. Being honest, I wouldn't recommend going to fight Ganon straight away. If
people have done it.
Props to you. I've seen people speedrun that game, so fair play to you. I obviously chose to indulge in Breath of the Wild when it initially came out. Take it in because it had every biome you could think of, right? They really took Hyrule, a very beloved world for people, and expanded on it. And I know there's a lot of grassland and stuff, but really, no 2 locations are the same, right? There's a lot of foresty parts, a lot of open plains, so almost too many mountains. It is one of the most annoying things in that game, to be fair. But you got snow biomes, you got fire biomes, desert biomes, you got everything, right? In Breath of the Wild, and it was just visually stunning. The beaches as well, of course. You'd get epic sunsets in this game and stuff like that. And at the time, Breath of the Wild was amazing. I figured it would be very difficult for them to top Breath of the Wild. And we've got Tears of the Kingdom. And Tears of the Kingdom came out and, turned what was already an epic open world game, but you could do it in your own way, and turned it up by 10 by adding the option to basically, they turned it into a sandbox game, and you can do whatever you want. Like, quite literally, whatever you want. And you can create whatever you want. they gave you the option to design your own objects, and they can be whatever you want. I've seen people building spaceships on this game. Killer robots. I've seen loads of mechs. Just loads of stuff. I saw someone finding a chicken farm, and just basically quite evil, but just stressing out the chickens and getting them to give them the eggs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so it just essentially took the play this game however you want, finish it however you want, and gone literally do whatever you want. Like however you think this game would work for you, that's how we want you to play it. Yeah,
and off the back of that, like mine and Tyler's playthrough is still very, very different. Like if you look at like Tears of the Kingdom in terms of like the biomes that Charles just said, they each pose their own challenge as well. Like if you're in the snow, you're cold and you'll die if you're in the cold. If you're in the desert, you get too hot, you'll die if you get too hot, and you have to find things that combat that sort of state. And like with Tyler at the moment, he's done 2 of the challenges that give you like extra power-ups. I've not done any of them. I'm just concentrating on opening the map up and trying to find Rito Village.
Do you know what? I've played and finished Breath of the Wild, and I can't remember where anything on this map is.
No.
But it's really weird, because obviously it's a sequel, but we'll get into the art style in a minute. But the map, the world hasn't changed that much, but it feels completely different. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I don't recognise much from Breath of the Wild.
No, and I think when they dropped this, as like I said with Tyler, with it being like it could be a sequel, or is it just a glorified DLC? There's so many like minor quality of life improvements that make already a 10 out of 10 game, which was Breath of the Wild, an 11 out of 10 game. Because it's certain things like with the recipes, you know, you can try and put food in your hand each time, or you can just cook the recipe and it'll put the stuff in your hand already, and it's just little quality of life. And like the stables thing, and you know, you have your horses in this game, and you know, I never use my horse because you just can go build a car. If you can think it, you can do it.
Yeah, I think the gameplay mechanics that they've added in this one gives it a completely nuanced experience compared to Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
You know, the things that you can do are completely different to the things you can do in Breath of the Wild. And don't get me wrong, Breath of the Wild has very few limitations, but there are absolutely 0 limitations in this one, right? Yeah. Because obviously before, the sky probably was the limit, right? You couldn't go high up in the sky in Breath of the Wild. But obviously, you know, they've made this world a lot more dimensional by including islands in the sky, and then you've got the underground as well to explore, and all of those pose new things you've got to, you know, adapt to, and new mechanics that you have to get used to. And it's just it just makes for an entirely different experience.
Yeah, and which also off the back of the underground thing, Nintendo never said a word about.
I had no idea, right? I thought we were getting... I mean, Josh hasn't probably played it, but I thought we were getting essentially a new version of Skyward Sword, which was essentially all in the sky, right? But and from the trailer, we were all like, oh, we're heading to the sky this time. I didn't think we'd have much interaction with mainland Hyrule. But then we've got a whole world underground as well. It's...
I haven't been there yet. I'm too scared.
It's difficult. It's difficult, because it's dark as well. Like, it's hard to see anything underground, and it's just very annoying. But it gives it more depth. It gives the gameplay a lot more depth, and I think, like I said, it makes for a much more nuanced experience because you've got these new challenges, but it feels familiar, but it doesn't. And I think from that, like when I first started playing, I would be inclined to say in the first like hour or two, it does just feel like a DLC for Breath of the Wild. But very quickly, I was like, okay, this is a whole new experience. This is a whole new game. Yeah. And Nintendo, you know, they took a risk, I think, by not really changing the art style up that much. They kind of Majora's Masked it a little bit, because Majora's Mask, when that first came out, felt like a glorified DLC for Ocarina of Time, but because the art style is very much the same, but it isn't. It's a whole new experience, it's a whole new game, and there's gameplay mechanics in that make Majora's Mask a very separate entity, and that obviously they've obviously taken what they've learned from that and done the exact same with Tears of the Kingdom, and I think it's paid off entirely. I think in terms of gameplay, it is one of the most rewarding experiences in a game at the moment.
Yeah, and the credit to that is the art style as well. Off the back of it's not. It's a very pretty game. It's not the prettiest game, but it doesn't need to be to get its point across and to get its gameplay across.
So I think I agree and I don't agree with that. I think it is a pretty game, and I think it's a very pretty game and one of the prettiest games ever. But there's two things that help visuals, and you can have both, but a lot of the times you have one or the other.
Yeah.
And that is either the graphics, the quality of the graphics, or the art style. And I think Breath of the Wild or Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom in this example, sacrifice the graphical quality for an incredible art style. They introduced Link being cel shaded, and all the characters were cel shaded. The world is very of that art style. It all feels very comic booky. Kind of of that trend at the moment with 3D animation is turning it into cel shading. And for me, I think that looks fantastic if you're playing it on the right screen, because obviously, or even if you're playing it on a more powerful Switch. I've got the first gen Switch, so it's trotting along slowly, but I think if you're playing it on a more powerful console, and to be honest, on a more powerful console, this would look visually insane. I think that's where it lets itself down, because the Switch is an old console.
But but I think it does accommodate that the Switch's power, and it uses its power to its fullest potential. It does trundle along. Even with mine, I can hear it sort of trying to take off, and I'm like, go on, you can do it. I'm only opening a door, But it uses that style, and it uses all the Switch's potential to be sort of like a very, very colourful and very sort of vibrant, absorbing sort of game. And then and that's to its credit. It's not, it doesn't look like a Last of Us game, but it doesn't need to. But it does get the point across of how it should look, and it does suck you into the world, and it gives its own unique image. And for that, it shows that your game doesn't have to have a $200 million budget and the greatest graphics on the planet to sell well. And off the back of its sales, it also sold a lot of physical copies, which a lot of people are moving to digital. But Zelda shows, Tears of the Kingdom shows that people do want them physical copies.
I think Nintendo will be a company that will stick loyal to physical. I can't see them going digital. They're not exactly. They've never really been a studio, or that have ever stuck to the trend. Do you know what I mean? The moving trends within sort of the technological world.
They do the right thing. Yeah.
They went back to cartridges for the Switch, which which was a bold move, because it was cartridges. I don't think is nearly as powerful as a disc, but maybe I'm wrong. But and also, I think they've always taken gameplay into consideration over performance for any of their games. I've played X amount of games on the Switch, and the gameplay has just been so good that I've not even thought about how it looked at all. And the Tears of the Kingdom is no exception, because I just love, especially in this one, I just love being able to do what I want. And then on top of that, with the art style that they have, it is a very big map, right? There's essentially 3 times the size of Breath of the Wild, because you've got 3 layers to this map. And even though it's not graphically insane, this game, there's been so many times I've just looked and gone, just look at that. Like, that view is insane, right? The world looks magnificent. You can tell that they've gone in and every detail has been well fleshed out.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about both of the games is how they incorporate the enemies into the world, especially in this one, trees come to life and start attacking you.
Yeah.
Or, you'll be walking. And the other day, I've seen so many stone taluses, but the amount of times I walk along and suddenly this rock that's just poking out the ground will just get up. And I'm like, oh, good Lord, yeah.
Or even on a night when the bones appear and you're like, oh, no, leave me alone.
Yeah. It's very well thought out. The world around you is a character in this story. In this game, it's its own character. Like, you have to think about the weather, which is a game you don't have to think about. You have to think about the time of day you travel because more enemies appear at night. And then if you kill too many enemies, the game goes, no, I need to reset that, and the blood moon rises.
Yeah. Or you
blood moon rises.
You're getting really good and you've got all the best armor and you're doing really good, and then the game goes, would you like a lightning storm? And then you got to take all your gear off because you're going to get electrocuted. Take all your gear off.
And then you got this sword. You go, God, hell yeah! And then all of a sudden, so and so sword is badly damaged.
Yeah. But
why?
Yeah. Why? But a good segue to that is our next topic of discussion with regards to this game is gameplay. Now, you said that the world itself is its own sort of character. Yeah. Everything in this game has a purpose. Everything.
100%. That's what I'm saying. Everything in this game is meant to be there.
Yeah, like you pick up chilies to keep you warm in the cold, or you pick up ice. What are them jelly things? Yeah. And you're like, oh, I need a platform. You'll pull an ice jelly thing that you've got out and throw that into the water, and it'll make you an ice platform.
What? Wait, what?
You know the squishy things that bounce around?
Yeah.
If you kill a white one, that's an ice one. You throw it into the water, it'll give you an ice platform.
I did not know that.
Ah, well.
I did not know that.
Everything has...
Because I used to use the choo-choos a lot in the last game.
Yeah.
Like, those things, but I haven't really found a purpose for them. And obviously, one of the things I really like is, you got the chilies, which can be used to cook. And then if you cook them, it will keep you warm. Or if you cook frozen ones, it will keep you cold. But also you can fuse them to an arrow and turn them into ice arrows or fire arrows.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought of earlier was like, there's no other arrows other than arrows in this one. But instead, everything is a weapon.
Yeah. So like you've got your bombs, you've got you make everything, and like being in the depths. Like I've gone through a couple of caves, as it were, and they have been quite dark, and sort of working out that, well, Link can throw that thing that way, that light, and get a certain distance, or you can attach it to an arrow and dart it across the map and it'll open the map up even more. And it's things like that just sort of like, I know for a fact that no one's playing the game like I am, because no one's making the decision I am, no one's shooting the arrow in the certain point where I am, or going to a certain area where I am, where my role at the moment is Nomad Link, exploring the wilderness, getting all the resources on the planet. Am I going to fight a Lionel? No, thank you. Am I going to fight anything that's remotely difficult?
Lionel. I told you about that last week, didn't I?
Yes. Well, even that, like just the whole honor system with the Lionel.
So, yeah, for those that don't know, I don't know if we talked about it on the. No, we didn't talk about it on episode. So for those of you who don't know, if you've played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you obviously are aware of the Lionels, which are like a centaur kind of creature. And they're hard. They're hard, right? They're well hard.
Hard. Well hard.
They're like hard. Not like, they're hard to kill. I mean, they are hard to kill, but I mean, they're hard. They're built like a brick shithouse, yeah? They're hard. But they have an honor system, which I really like for it. And it's, if you approach one, they're very cautious, right? They're on the defensive. But if you don't draw a weapon around them, they won't attack you. But if you would stand from a distance from them and you draw a weapon, it's almost like a bit of a standoff, and then they'll begin to attack you. They're very much like, I won't hurt you if you don't hurt me. And they will always face you. Like, if you're within their perimeter, they'll always be looking at you. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a bit samurai-esque, isn't it? Like, they face their enemies when they fight them. And I like that about them. That's a cool little mechanic.
I avoid them like the plague. So
yeah, me too. I actually haven't seen one in Tears yet.
I haven't either. And I think... For me, I'm playing it in the style of like, even if I come across the weird goblin-looking things, Bokoblin, yeah.
No, it's Bokoblins. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Bokoblins.
I avoid them. You know, I don't get into the conflicts. I have my weapons, and I'm just scouring for resources to find things that get me to do.
I do like
what I need to do. And I just don't interact with it, and I just try and find like the chests and try and find all the. I like doing all the puzzles with the shrines and that.
The shrines.
And yeah, from like a gameplay standpoint, like it gives you the tools. It has the same thing as Breath of the Wild, where you're in the big tutorial section, which is like a piece of the map.
Yeah.
Which this is your tutorial to learn everything, and then this
and
one is to describe it.
You never need to go there ever again.
No, never need to do it again.
Same as in Breath, the starting area. You just never need to go there again.
No, but it's a good starting area to sort of like get you to grips with it, and then it gives you the tools to learn and go. Well, actually, in this starting area, you've got to fuse things together, and you learn all your sort of powers, and you get to grips with what the new sort of mechanics of the game are, and then it's just like, right, here's Hyrule in its multi-layers. Go finish the game or don't. You'll still get the same amount of enjoyment from it. And that really is a testament to the gameplay. Like, it's just, here's all tools. We've fleshed out this game. We've put things everywhere to keep you entertained so you can attack anything anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Go do it.
It is one of those games as well. It's worth exploring every ounce of this map. Because you'll come across things that are like, wow. And one, like the shrine, I was saying to Josh, I think the shrines in this one are much more... I feel more of an accomplishment in this one finishing them, because I think some of the challenges are they really do make you think. And I'll be stood there with some of them going, I refuse to Google any of how to do these shrines. Refuse to. Right? I know you have, but there's a few that
I googled one because I just didn't have a tool that like slammed a springboard. I have no idea what to do.
I've not googled one, and I've been like, how do I do it? And I'll be in one for like a good 10-15 minutes before I go. And then I'll just sit and go, maybe if I do this, and then it works. And I think what I like about this one is some of the shrines, I think there's more than one way to do a few of them. And it's interesting to see how people overcome doing some of the challenges. And I think that's what this game is all about, you know. It doesn't feel too overwhelming. They haven't given you too many options to the point where you're like, oh, having infinite things to do is stressful. Like in this one, these are your tools. There are so many different options you can do. There are so many different things you can do with them. Have fun, explore, and try and learn and try and figure out a way to overcome that challenge.
I had one. I've got two shrines that come to mind that I've been at the moment. One was I had to get platform across two railroads, and then it had to join onto a third one. Like the two disappeared, and I was just on the third one. So I had to make something that's just not going to fall off.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you, what I made is not what someone else made.
Yeah.
You know, because I had to work out, well, actually, it's going to go on two rings, and it's going to go through a third ring. So as soon as these two rings fall off, I've got to get something that will stay on that third ring. And trying to wrap my head around doing that was great. You know, and I finally sort of did it, and I surmounted that challenge. I was like, boom, done, great, love that one. And then there was another one where I had to get a big ball up something high, and I had the little balloon things that you get, the hot air balloon sort of attachments, and they had the fire. And I looked, and I was like, right, if I fire these like dragon's breath fiery things that fire off into that balloon, it should give it enough thrust that it'll pick up this ball. And I don't think I ended up doing that. Well, I ended up trying to do it, and like I think I tried to fill the balloon up with one, and then used the other one to push it against the wall. So where it went up the wall it needed to go up, and then into the place it needed to go. Did that work out? No. Did I manage to sort of like get it?
A lot of trial and error in this game, isn't there?
It is a load of trial and error, and then you got it, and it ended up having to go. I did it a different way, but I know that when I did it that way, no one's done it that way. But I got the end result, and I got the sense of achievement of being like, oh my god, I am a genius, literal genius of physics and the known universe. You know.
See, I thought I was a genius, but there's a subreddit called Hyrule Engineering that's come from Tears of the Kingdom, and where people are showcasing some of the things they've created, and it's fantastic. I tell you what, it's annoying me because I don't know how to get it, and I don't want to Google how to get it. I don't know how you get the ability to recall some of your designs. Have you seen that that's an ability you can get? So you can store designs and recall them. I don't know how to find that ability, and I don't want to Google it, because I'm just afraid of spoilers.
Okay, I will Google it, and if it is a spoiler, I won't tell you, and then I'll find out how to do it, because I have seen that they can just... Because there was a guy who did he literally came on and he was like, I have created the most dangerous thing in the Tears of the Kingdom, and my lord, has he. And it's like a platform, and it's just got like 40 like laser cannons on it, and he's like, he managed to like
where the hell are people
engineer it in a way.
Things from?
Well, you get them from the Zonai charger, the vending machines. If you get them, you can build your own stuff from there. But he's managed to engineer it in a way that when he uses it, it doesn't use any battery power, so you can just constantly use it.
Yeah, I've seen people. I've seen people trapping electric Lizalfos into a box, and it powers their device.
Genius stuff like that, like the things that they've thought about, like, oh, this is electric enemy.
People have created slavery.
Yeah, there is some dark things in this game, but each to their own. Like for me,
but Nintendo were just like la 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 la.
Yeah, 100%. They're like, oh my god, we've created the biggest sandbox ever. You know, go have at it. Like this is the type of game where a sandbox is so vast and so unique that you can do what you want. That I think even Rockstar are taking note about this, going, well, actually, we have the resources to make a game that looks 100 times prettier than Zelda. What are we doing? We need to sort of up our game. And I definitely think they're going to take note of this.
I think a lot of studios are going to look to Tears of the Kingdom as a blueprint for future games, because Breath of the Wild was a blueprint for a lot of like RPGs that, you know, preceded that game. And I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to do exactly the same thing. I think we're going to see a lot more sandboxy stuff in, you know, big titled games now, because it just works. It just works every time. Zelda is just one of those franchises that gives and keeps on giving, and they get it right. They hit it right every single time, and these two games are no exception. You know, Breath of the Wild, I genuinely thought, how does it get better? And the answer is Tears of the Kingdom, and I couldn't recommend it more.
Now,
and so the last thing you want to speak about is nostalgia.
Yeah, but is it the best game ever made? And for me, I think it is. It does. Like, if I look at the facts, I look at the figures, I look at what you can do, I look at it compared to like other games. Like for me, talked about it before. Dead Rising, Gears of War, greatest games I've ever played. The original Fable, one of the greatest games I've ever played. But if I was to put them games against Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, is it? Or is it just my heart being like, oh, Marcus Phoenix, what a character. Oh, the original Fable, you know, Jack of Blades, you know, and all the things you could do in that, and the choice system.
I'm going to interrupt you there, because I get your point, but you're also using games that came out a long time ago, and they're incomparable to a game like this. They're incomparable.
Well, yeah, that's based off nostalgia. But let's look at something more recent then. Let's go Last of Us 2. Do I think Tears of the Kingdom is better than Last of Us 2? Yes.
Yeah, The trouble is,
give me a game. Go for it.
Right, so there's very few games, that are out there that are even remotely similar to what you can do in Tears of the Kingdom. It is Grand Theft Auto and Minecraft combined, and then added and then on steroids. Yeah.
Well, that is literally what it is. Let's go down a game that you like. Season, same art style.
That's an indie game. Don't even do that to them.
I'm not going to come at them. I'm not coming at them. But it's a similar art style. Is it better than Season? And I know you love Season, and you can't tell me it's not.
Of course, it's better than Season.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It's going to slap. It's going to be great. Starfield. Do you know what? Starfield might be the game that beats it, because again, that's a sandbox over 1,000 planets where you can just do what you want. Now, can I go create a Mars rover? You know, I make my own ship.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a Mars.
Well, I can make my own ship though.
I think Tears of the Kingdom is a game that isn't going anywhere for a long time.
No.
And the caliber, and that is down to, you know, the fact that this game has
a big
in
audience.
a league of its own.
Yeah.
And You know, I don't think it's the best game I've ever played. Like, well, actually, I do. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. But what I mean is, it's not the game I don't like love it as much as I love some of my favorite games. Again,
because of nostalgia.
You're right. It's nostalgia, right? But you could say that for most things, right? You could add that argument to a lot of different things, right? But this game is going to be around for a while, and I know that if I just want to, immerse myself in one of the wildest worlds ever, and just go, what if I try and do this? Then this is the game for me. Like, if you love problem solving and you love a puzzle, I think these are the games for you, because there is no rules. You just do what you want. They put you in it, right? Not gonna lie, in this story, Link is insignificant as a character. What you do with him is what makes that interesting. But he is just a
silent
dude.
Protagonist, yeah.
He's just a silent protagonist, and you do whatever you like with him. And that is the beauty of this game. And I do truly think everyone should play this game. If you have a Switch, if you haven't got a Switch, get one and play it, because it's good. And games like this don't come around that often, and it's definitely going to be a flagship game for future RPGs, a bit like Breath of the Wild was. So maybe play Breath of the Wild first as well. See the game that's basically inspired future art styles or future gameplay that came in the following 6 years, and then play Tears of the Kingdom and watch what's going to inspire future art styles and future gameplay for years to come. Yeah, I think Nintendo with these Zelda games have this particular part of the franchise have set the blueprint for modern gaming, and people will follow that. And if they don't, I'll be surprised, and I think they'd be stupid not to. But they will. They all will follow suit, because they all have so far. And with that, I'm going to end on my recommendation. And I think to keep up with the Japanese theme we've got going on today, and with my ever-growing love of Studio Ghibli, I'm going to recommend a wonderful film that we have talked about on this quite a few times, and that is the brilliant Princess Mononoke. It is a film that came out in the 90s. Oh my lord, when did Princess Mononoke come out? Let me have a look, because that is just going to annoy me. But it is one of the early Ghibli films. Princess Mononoke. You are correct.
Am I?
And I was going to say 97 as well, but I was like, no, I'm going to have to fact check this one. Princess Mononoke, it came out in 1997. It is one of the more violent films of Studio Ghibli. Lots of decapitation. Josh enjoyed it, so
loved it.
That tells me everything. That tells me everything I need to know about this film. It is very much a fantasy film. It follows the story of two characters: San, who is the princess, and Ashitaka, who is a disgraced sort of, like, I guess, a warrior, really. And they're trying to save the world from a spirit. And the forces of a very evil lady, which I can't remember her name, who wants to kill the spirit of the forest. And it's just a wonderfully wholesome film. I think it's a film that has aged tremendously, as have all Studio Ghibli films. If you are wanting to break out into the Ghibli universe and don't know where to start, I highly recommend this one. It's where Josh has. And yeah, so that's my recommendation for the week.